They demanded surrender instead. Earth deployed the Black Armada. It all began with a single transmission, a demand from an alien empire expecting Earth to kneel. Eric Vaughn sat by the wide window of his quiet home, far from the city's high, up in the cold mountains. Outside, the snow fell gently, covering the trees in white. He held a warm cup of coffee in his hands, but didn't drink it. His eyes were on the sky. He used to watch the stars with someone. Years ago, Lila, she had been his student, once bright, curious, and full of questions about the universe. Over time, she became like family to him. They worked together on secret projects, late into the night, hidden from the rest of the world. She had always believed in what they were building, but she had moved away, left Earth. She had taken a post with the United Nations Science Corps on a lunar station. It wasn't goodbye, not really. They said they'd stay in touch. But slowly, the calls became fewer, the messages shorter. Now months had passed. Eric had written many messages, but never sent them. He didn't know why. He missed her, but he didn't know how to reach out. Now, looking at the stars, he felt small, distant, alone, and then his old communicator beeped. It was dusty, unused. Sitting under a stack of old notebooks, Eric blinked at it. No one used this frequency anymore. He reached for it with a shaky hand. The voice that came through was not Lila's. This is Galactic Union Command. Earth, you have been observed. You will surrender within 10 Earth days or face removal. Eric sat frozen. The voice was cold. Robotic. Confident. Like someone used to being obeyed. He pressed the communicator again. Switching through old emergency channels, messages were already spreading. The world had heard the demand. News stations were panicking. Leaders were holding closed meetings. Earth had never received a message like this before. For most, this was the beginning of fear. For Eric, it was something else. He stood slowly and walked to the back of the house, to a hidden door behind his bookshelf. Inside was a steel room. Lights flickered on. Screens woke up, dust cleared from old consoles. Files opened. The Black Armada. It had been his project. Decades ago, hidden under layers of shadow and lies, a fleet of ships built not to attack but to protect.
Ow.
Built not from pride, but from preparation. Earth had always known this day might come. He ran his fingers over the control panel. The ships were still out there, cloaked in orbit, buried in deep-sea vaults, and hidden in deserts no one visited anymore. Not even Earth's governments knew all of them. It's only Eric and a few others. But Eric had retired. The world had moved on. Lila had moved on still. Still, Earth was his home. He could not watch it surrender. But could he do this alone? Thought again of Lila. She had once believed in the Armada. Believed it was more than metal and engines. She saw it as a symbol that Earth could protect itself without becoming a monster. He looked at the communicator again, and for the first time in months, he sent a message. Lila, it's me. I know we haven't spoken. I don't even know if you still check this channel, but I need you. Earth needs you. They want us to surrender. I'm not ready to let go, not without trying. I hope you remember the Black Armada, 'cause it's time. He stared at the screen, no reply. Just silence. But something inside him had shifted. He didn't feel so far anymore. The stars were still out there. Ships were still waiting. And somewhere, maybe Lila was too. That night, Eric stood outside, snow falling on his shoulders, and watched the sky. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. He didn't know if Lila would reply. But he knew one thing. They demanded surrender. But Earth had something better. It had hope. Asterisk, they demanded surrender. Instead, Earth deployed the Black Armada. But before Earth could respond, it listened, and prepared. Leela sat alone in the observation dome of Lunar Station. 9. The stars were bright from up, here brighter than she had ever seen on Earth. The silence was heavy, even the machines around. Her hummed softly as if they knew something had changed. She had read the message a dozen times. Lila, it's me. I know we haven't spoken. I don't even know if you still check this channel. But I need you. Earth needs you. It was Eric. Her hands trembled a little as she held the tablet. The message had come out of nowhere, waking up memories she thought she had left behind. Years of building secret systems, training AI minds, designing engines that could think and fly on their own. She remembered his voice, calm, steady, always guiding, never forcing. He had been more than a mentor. He had believed in her when no one else did, and then she left. At the time, it felt right. The project was too quiet, too slow, too hidden. She wanted to explore, to see other worlds. She wanted more. But in the silence of space, she sometimes missed the sound of Eric's voice explaining how Earth's greatest strength was its people, not its machines, not its weapons, its people. And now, he was asking for her. She hadn't replied, not because she didn't want to, but because she didn't know how. What do you say to someone you care about after so much time? She walked through the empty halls of the station. Most people were in their quarters. No one wanted to be awake after the broadcast. The alien message had spread fear across every outpost and station. Surrender within 10 Earth days or face removal. The words repeated again and again in her mind. She passed by a window that looked down on Earth. The blue planet looked calm, peaceful, but she knew better. She knew the surface was full of questions, meetings, and fear. People were wondering what to do. She touched the glass. She had been part of something once, something powerful, something secret, something that had given Earth a chance to stand tall, even when others looked down on it. The Black Armada. It wasn't just a fleet, it was a promise, quiet message to the stars. We are here, we will not harm, but we will not bow. Eric had given everything to build it, and he had trusted her with its core systems. She hadn't thought about that in a long time now. It felt like a part of her had been sleeping and was waking up again. She sat at a console and pulled up a hidden file. She typed in a code she hadn't used in years. Access granted. A hologram appeared, the design of the first ship they had built together. Sleek black, silent as space itself. The engines were powered by solar fusion, guided by human-AI bonds. No crew alone could fly them. No AI alone could lead them. Only together. That had always been Earth's way. Unity, connection, trust, and now, maybe that was what scared the aliens. She smiled softly. She still didn't know what to say to Eric. But maybe she didn't need to say much. Maybe she just needed to show up. She sent a message to Central Command. One line. Request transfer to Earth Command. Emergency defense. Protocol black signal authorization. She stared at the stars for a long time after that. She still felt the distance between her and Eric, between who she had been, who she was now. But something had changed. She didn't feel lost. Anymore she felt needed, and that was enough. Down on Earth, Eric sat in the control room of the old command center. The lights were dim, the air cold. But he smiled. His screen blinked. Incoming transfer request. Dr. Lila Morgan. Black signal authorization confirmed. Eric leaned back in his chair. She's coming, he whispered. Outside, in the shadows of Earth's orbit, something ancient and powerful began to wake. The Black Armada waited not to destroy, but to protect. The galaxy had demanded surrender, but Earth had another answer. It remembered who it was, and it remembered each other. They demanded surrender instead. Earth deployed the Black Armada. But before the fleet could rise, secrets had to be revealed. Eric stood in the silent hangar, deep under the surface of Greenland. The cold air bit at his skin, but he didn't move. In front of him stood the first of Earth's secret ships, covered in black metal, resting like a sleeping giant. It had been years since he last came here. The lights slowly turned on above, one by one revealing more ships hidden in the shadows, dozens of them, lined up in perfect silence. They were built to be invisible to most alien scanners. It's built in secret, hidden in plain sight. This was where the Black Armada had started. But Eric's thoughts were not on the ships. They were on Leela, she had replied. She was coming back. But he didn't know what to say when she arrived. He still remembered the day. She left. She had packed quickly, saying she needed something more, something brighter. He didn't stop her. He just nodded and wished her luck. And after she was gone, he never told her how much he missed working with her, how proud he was, how alone he felt without her. Now, with war possibly coming, he didn't want to waste another chance. He walked past the ships and entered the old control room. The walls were lined with monitors and blinking lights. A single chair sat in the middle. He sat down and pulled up the files. Each ship had a name. Not names of power, but names of people. The Maya, the Rosa, the Moloch, the Eleni. They were named after everyday humans who once stood for peace, for courage, for unity. That had been Earth's message from the beginning. We are strong not because we fight, but because we stand together. Eric sighed and leaned back. He missed the way Lila used to laugh during tests. Even when things exploded? He missed her questions, how she always pushed him to think harder. Most of all, he missed the feeling of being part of something with someone. Now, even with the ships around him, he felt the distance again. Not space, not time, but emotional. Distance she was coming, but would it be the same? He tapped his old communicator, opened a message, and began to speak. Lila, you said yes. You're coming. I wasn't sure if you would. I don't know what you're thinking. Maybe you've changed. Maybe I have. But I want you to know this matters. You matter. I never said it before. I should have. Guess I just thought there was always time. Paused. I hope we can find that time again. He saved the message, but didn't send it, not yet. Meanwhile, on a quiet shuttle headed back toward Earth, Lila sat near the window, watching the stars pass by. Her fingers traced the small Earth badge on her coat. She remembered when Eric gave it to her. It wasn't shiny or fancy, just a small circle with a blue dot in the center. He had said, "This is who we protect. Not a planet. A home." Lila smiled softly. The stars looked endless. But in her heart she still felt something was missing. She had seen new worlds, met new species, worked on new science, but nothing ever felt like home. Eric had always made her feel like she belonged. She wondered if he was still the same, or if he even wanted her back. She reached for her tablet and opened a message box. She typed slowly, "Eric, I'm on my way. I know it's been a long time. I don't expect things to be how they were. I just... I want to help, and I hope we can still work together." She stared at it for a long moment. Then she added, "And I missed you." She hit send. The stars outside her window didn't change. But inside, something did. She felt lighter, hopeful. Back on Earth, the message came through. Eric read it slowly. When he reached the last line, he smiled for the first time in days. He stood, walked to the central panel, and pressed a glowing button. A deep hum filled the hangar. One by one, the black ships of Earth began to power up. The Black Armada was waking not because of anger, but because of love, because of connection. Because when humanity remembers each other, it remembers its strength. And now, Earth remembered. Asterisk, they demanded surrender instead. Earth deployed the Black Armada. And now, the galaxy watched to see how Earth would kneel or rise. Lila stepped off the shuttle, onto the Earth base. The air smelled different here, fresh, full of wind and dust and life. It had been so long since she felt real ground under her boots. The landing pad was empty, except for one figure standing near the edge. Eric, he looked older than she remembered. His gray hair was longer, and there were more lines on his face. But his eyes were still the same, calm, focused, kind. They stood for a moment without speaking. Lila looked down. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey," Eric replied. A long pause followed. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said. "I wasn't sure either," she answered truthfully. He gave a small nod, then stepped closer. "But I'm glad you did." Looked at him, eyes full of unspoken feelings. "I missed this. I missed you." Eric smiled a little, not big, but real. Same here. Far above Earth, in a great ship orbiting quietly, the Galactic Union Council gathered. They were tall, strange beings, with glowing eyes and long hands. Some had scales, others metal skin. None of them were human. They watched Earth on their screens. Watched the strange black ships slowly rising from the shadows. Ships they didn't understand. Ships that shouldn't exist. Primitive, one counselor said, but clever. They have refused to answer our warning, said another. They are too bold. They are human, said a third. They will not surrender. There was silence. Do we attack? Asked one, but no decision was made. Not yet. They would wait, watch, and see how Earth responded to fear. On Earth, Eric and Lila walked side by side through the underground base. The lights flickered softly above them. Technicians were moving fast now, checking systems, running tests, preparing. The fleet, they stopped near a screen that showed the solar system. A red dot blinked at the Agilian ships. Lila stared at it. They're coming, yes, Eric said, but we're not alone. She looked at him. Do we have enough? Maybe not, he said, but we have each other. That's where we begin. Later that night, Lila sat alone in the tech room. Walls were covered in drawings, notes, old blueprints, some of them hers. She remembered every line, every idea. Every late night spent laughing or arguing with Eric over small details that now felt important. She touched one old paper, folded and faded. It was a sketch of the first fusion engine they built together. Underneath, Eric had written in small, neat handwriting, "One day we'll show them what humanity really is." She closed her eyes. She still felt distant. Even sitting in the same place again, near the people she once loved, something inside her felt far away. She had missed too much time. She had left too many messages unsent. But she was here now, and maybe that was enough. She opened a screen and began writing, "To the people of Earth, you may feel fear. That's normal, but do not let it win. We are not just fighting to survive. We are standing to be seen. We are not small. We are not weak. We are human. We are ready." She sent it to the global broadcast team. She didn't sign her name. She didn't need to. Hope had its own voice. Eric watched the message play on a monitor. He didn't say anything, but his eyes were wet. He knew it was Lila. He walked down a quiet hall and found her sitting near a glowing panel. "Nice message," he said gently. She looked up. "Do you think they'll believe it?" "Think they already do," he said. They sat in silence again, and then Eric said what he had been holding in his heart. "I'm sorry I never said goodbye when you left." Lila shook her head. "Don't have to say sorry. I left because I thought I needed more. But I think what I needed was this place, this fight." He looked at her. "We still have time," he said. She nodded. Double quotes, "Yes, and I'm not going anywhere." High above, the alien council watched the broadcast. They didn't understand the human words, but they felt the tone. They felt the strength. Behind the silence, Earth had not replied to their demand with anger or fear. It had replied with unity, and in the shadows, the Black Armada waited, silent ready, because Earth would not kneel. It would stand together. They demanded surrender instead. Earth deployed the Black Armada, and when it appeared, the stars blinked in fear. The sky above Earth shimmered with silent movement. For the first time, the Black Armada rose from its hidden places. Ships rose from deep oceans, cold mountains, secret valleys, and quiet deserts. They flew with no sound, like dark shadows passing across the stars. The people of Earth watched from cities and towns. Children pointed at the sky. Parents held their breath. No one had ever seen these ships before. Most didn't even know they existed, and in every heart a question whispered, "Who are we really?" Lila sat in the main command room, watching the screen as the ships formed their silent wall in orbit. Her hands rested on the controls, but her mind was elsewhere. She thought of her little sister, Emily, who lived in a quiet village near the mountains. It had been years since they spoke. Lila had left without saying much. She had promised to write. She never did. Now, she felt that weight again. the weight of distance, of silence, of time lost. She wondered if Emily saw the ships in the sky. She wondered if she was proud. She reached for her tablet and opened an old message she had never sent. It was written long ago, full of stories and memories and apologies. She read it slowly, then added one line at the bottom. "I'm still your sister. I never stopped being that. Hope we can talk again." Then she finally hit send. She didn't know if it would be read, but sending it made her feel less alone. Eric stood near one of the launch pads, watching the largest ship, the Helios, rise into the clouds. Its engines glowed softly, humming with clean energy from solar fusion cells. The ship was designed to protect, not destroy, but it could defend Earth if needed. He remembered the day he and Lila first tested the engine together. They had danced in the lab when it worked. They had believed they were building something beautiful. Now, years later, it was no longer a dream. It was real, and it was out there, showing the galaxy that Earth was not afraid. He missed those old days. The laughter, the arguments, the joy of discovery. He missed her. Even though she was here now, standing just one room away, he still felt a space between them, like there were still things unsaid. But he knew something had changed, because now, both of them were choosing to stay. In space, near the edge of the solar system, a small alien scout ship moved silently. Its job was to send coordinates of Earth's defenses back to the Galactic Union fleet. But before it could send the signal, one of Earth's ships appeared beside it, not to destroy, just to watch. The scout ship turned its sensors toward the strange, black vessel, but its systems failed. Its signals scrambled, its memory erased. Not one weapon was fired, but the message was clear. "We see you, and we are not afraid." The scout ship turned around and fled. The Galactic Union Council received the scouts' scrambled report. They expected data, weakness, numbers. Instead, they received silence, and silence made them nervous. "They did not attack," said one counselor. "But they are not hiding either," another added. "They're watching us, like equals." Slowly, fear crept into their hearts. Not because Earth was dangerous, but because Earth was different. Back on Earth, Lila received a message on her tablet. It was from Emily. "I saw the ships. I knew you were part of it. I'm proud of you. Come visit when this is over." Lila smiled, a small smile, a hopeful smile. She turned to Eric, who had just walked into the room. "I sent her a message," she said. "I'm glad," he replied. "I was afraid she forgot me." "She didn't," Eric said. "People don't forget those they care about, even if time gets in the way." She looked at him. "Then maybe we can still fix what we lost." He nodded. "We already are." Outside, in the vast black sky, the Black Armada stood like a silent wall. No anger, no pride, just a quiet message to the stars. "We are still here. We remember who we are. We will stand together, because when Earth stands, it does not stand alone, it stands as one." Asterisk, they demanded, surrender instead. Earth deployed the Black Armada. What they found was not a fleet, but a single will. Lila stood in the main AI bonding chamber, watching the light dance around her. Tall glass pods filled the room. Inside each one, a soft glowing sphere floated AI cores, waiting to be paired. With their human partners, it was quiet here. Too quiet, she took a deep breath. The silence reminded her of old nights alone on Lunar Station 9. No wind, no voices, just machines and stars. Even though she had been surrounded by people, she had always felt far away, especially from Eric. Even now, after working beside him. Again, something still lingered in her heart. That space between them, it wasn't anger. It was distance, time, things. Left unsaid, Eric entered the room quietly. He didn't say anything at first. He just stood beside her and looked at the glowing pods. "This is where it all began," he said softly. She nodded. "I remember." They stood in silence for a while. Then Eric spoke again. "Do you ever wonder what it would have been like if you stayed?" Leela looked at him. Her voice was quiet, all the time. Eric turned toward her. I was hurt. When you left, not angry, just empty. I didn't know how to say it. So I said nothing. I thought maybe you were glad I was gone, Lila whispered. I never was, Eric said. I just didn't know how to say I missed you. Her eyes filled, but she smiled. That was the thing about humans, so many feelings. But still so much hope together. They moved to the main bonding terminal. Each ship in the Black Armada was built around a human-AI connection. Not controlled, not programmed, paired, shared. That was Earth's greatest secret. Not stronger weapons, but stronger bonds, the galaxy believed. Earth would break under pressure, but Earth had something the Union never understood. Trust. Lila placed her hand on the interface. A soft blue glow spread under her palm. The terminal spoke. Dr. Leela Morgan. Do you accept pairing protocol? She looked at Eric. He gave a small nod. Yes, she said. The AI core in front of her shimmered. It rose into the air and gently drifted toward her. The bond began not as a command, but as a connection. Thoughts flowed between them, feelings, memories. Lila didn't lose herself. She became more. The AI's name was Caro. It spoke with warmth. Hello, Lila. I've waited for you. She smiled again. Not because of the words, but because she felt them. She was no longer alone. Later, Eric bonded with his own ship, Vesta ship he had helped design but never flown. It was like meeting a lost part of himself as he stepped into the command pod. The ship lit up like a heartbeat. Vesta greeted him not like a machine, but like an old friend. Welcome home, Eric. The fleet slowly came alive. One by one, humans bonded with ships. Pilots and engineers stepped into command pods. Scientists and AI minds became partners. There was no shouting, no violence, no fear, just unity. Elsewhere, far above Earth, the Galactic Union fleet gathered. Dozens of massive alien warships armed and ready, cold metal. No soul, they were ready to conquer. But they didn't understand what they were facing. They saw black ships. They didn't see the people inside them, back at the Earth base. Leela sat in her ship's pod, now fully joined with Caro. She and Eric were connected through a shared channel. They didn't speak, but they could feel each other's presence. The distance was gone. They had found a way. Back, not by force, but by choosing hope. Caro whispered in her mind, You are not afraid, Leela. Answered aloud, I was, for a long time, and now. She looked up at the stars. I'm home. At the same time, Emily sent another message. The children here made drawings of the ships. They call them shadows of the sky. They say they feel safe now. Thank you for protecting us. Lila smiled. This was HFY. Not power, not pride, but protection, kindness. A quiet promise that Earth would not forget its people or each other. And as the Black Armada rose into the stars, the galaxy began to learn. Earth was not just a planet, it was a heart, and that heart beat as one. They demanded surrender instead. Earth deployed the Black Armada, and now the line was drawn across the stars. The Black Armada drifted through the dark between worlds, quiet but strong. The ships glowed like shadows wrapped in starlight. Did not move fast. It did not need to. At the edge of the solar system, a place called the Veil of Silence waited. It was where peace ended and danger began. Lila stood at her ship's command center. Her mind was calm, connected with her AI partner, Caro, but her heart was not. She still thought of Emily, of Eric, of everyone she once left behind, and even though she was now part of something bigger, that small ache in her heart stayed with her. She whispered, Am I enough to protect them? Caro's voice answered gently, You are not alone. She looked out the window. Across from her, Eric's ship, Vesta, held position. He was there, and for the first time in years, she didn't feel far from him anymore. The alien fleet arrived at the Veil of Silence. It was massive, bright silver ships, cold and sharp. Designed to break things apart, they did not speak. They came to finish what they had started, but something unexpected happened. The Black Armada was already waiting, perfectly lined, completely silent. Not one ship fired, not one moved, and yet the message was loud. This is our home. We will not run. Inside the lead alien vessel, the council members stared at the screen. One whispered, "Why are they not attacking?" Another said they want peace, but they will not kneel. "They are human," the leader said. "They never do." On Earth, people gathered around every screen. Cities stood still. Schools paused. Families watched with quiet breath. The Black Armada had not gone to destroy. They had gone to draw a line to say no further. Leela's sister, Emily, held her tablet close. She showed the children around her the ships. "They're not fighting," a boy whispered. "No," Emily said. With a smile, "They're protecting." Lila sent a message through the public channel. "To the Council of the Galactic Union, this is Earth. We do not want war. We will not attack, but we will not surrender. We will not be removed. This is our sky. This is our place. And we are not alone." For a moment, the galaxy held its breath. No reply came, but the alien ships did not move forward. They waited inside her ship. Leela looked at the stars and thought of Eric. She opened a private channel. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey," Eric answered. She smiled. "Remember when we thought these ships would never fly?" "I remember you calling my engine design cute," he replied. Leela laughed, a soft, warm sound that filled the silence. "I was wrong," she said. "It was brilliant." "No," Eric said gently. "You were brilliant." Lila looked down for a moment. "I'm sorry for leaving. I'm sorry for letting you go without telling you how much you mattered," Eric said. There was silence between them, but this time it was a good silence, a healing one. She replied, "We're here now." "Yes," Eric said. "And that's what matters." In orbit, the alien fleet slowly turned. No words, no war, just silence. And then they left. The council didn't understand the Black Armada. They didn't understand the humans inside it, but they understood one thing. This was not a world they could control. This was not a people who would break. Earth breathed again, not in celebration, but in quiet strength. Back at the base, Lila returned to the surface. Eric met her under a clear blue sky. He handed her a small box. Inside was her old Earth badge, cleaned and shining. "I thought you might want this back," he said. She smiled. "Thank you." They stood side by side, looking at the clouds above. "I'm staying," she said. "I hoped you would," Eric replied. She looked at him. "We're stronger together." "Yes," he said. "We always were." In the distance, the Black Armada hovered in high orbit, peaceful now. Like a dark ring of guardians around the planet, they had drawn the line. And they had not needed to fire a single shot. Asterisk, they demanded surrender. Instead, Earth deployed the Black Armada. What came next wasn't war. It was respect. The sun rose slowly over the Earth, spilling golden light across mountains, oceans, and cities. Birds sang softly. Children played in fields. Life went on. But something was different now. Something had changed. The galaxy had seen Earth stand tall. Not with weapons raised, but with quiet strength. Lila stood on a hill overlooking her hometown. The air was fresh and warm. She thought of her journey, how far she had come from the lonely observation deck on Lunar Station 9. She thought of Eric, and the silence between them that was finally gone. She pulled her coat tighter around her and smiled. Her communicator beeped softly. A message. She opened it. "Earth is ready to join the Galactic Alliance. We stand for peace, but we stand strong. We are no longer alone." She read the words again and looked up at the sky. The stars seemed to shine brighter. Back in the old command center, Eric sat quietly. The Black Armada rested in orbit, ready but peaceful. He thought of all the people who had believed in the dream, those who built the ships, programmed the AI and stayed up late working. Most of all, he thought of Lila. She had returned. They had found each other again, and together. They had shown the galaxy what humanity really meant in a distant star system. The Therathi alien race that had quietly hoped Earth would fight watched the news. Their leaders spoke softly. Perhaps we judged them too soon, another nodded. Their strength is not just in power, it is in heart. On Earth, families gathered to watch a broadcast. The Galactic Union Council had sent a delegation. Came not as conquerors, but as guests. Lila and Eric stood together on a stage. Facing the crowd, Eric took a deep breath. "This is Earth," he said. "We are not perfect. We are sometimes distant. We are sometimes afraid. But we are always hopeful. We believe in each other even when we feel far apart." Lila stepped forward. "And when we feel lost, we remember who we are. We remember our homes, our families, and the bonds that hold us together." The crowd cheered softly. Later, Lila received a message from Emily. "Welcome home. We are proud of you." Lila smiled and whispered, "Thank you." She looked at Eric, who was watching the crowd with quiet pride. They had come a long way. That night, under a sky filled with stars, Eric and Lila stood side by side. The black Armada gleamed softly above them, a symbol not of war but of hope. Humanity, of strength, through connection. Lila took Eric's hand. "We're not so far anymore, no," Eric said. "We're exactly where we need to be." And so, Earth changed the galaxy, not by surrendering, not by fighting, but by standing together, because sometimes the greatest power is the power to hope and to never give up on those we care about.